your dad, like, thank you, the Black Godfather for, I say thank you through you to him for all of his, lane paving, clearing the path for the dreamers. Without your father's hand, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis wouldn't have blossomed to, what they were able to do with Janet. Like, imagine your brother's Michael Jackson, work with Quincy, who's your dad's like right hand.
Yeah.
Gunslingers, like punchers, bulldozers.
Yeah.
Quincy and your pops.
Yeah.
Quincy made Thriller at 50. I'm 50.
But my dad and my mom, they were both dream weavers. So I told my dad, I said, what do you do? You're like the Wizard of Oz. You're like Oz. I used to say to him, what do you sit behind this curtain and everybody just, I was like, I have to make a documentary on this because no one is going to believe
that documentary was
that you were doing this. And all the lives that you touch. I mean, I love Andrew Young saying, look, Andrew Young is like, all I know is I was with Dr. King when he was shot. Then I wanted to go into politics, and then somebody introduced me to Clarence. And then Clarence changed my life. And, he told me I was crazy to do it, but I did it. He goes, and then Hank Aaron was about to break Babe Ruth's record. And, he said, but Hank is like, do you know him? People are saying he wants me to talk to him, but I don't know why. And I just love how my father was able to say, but if you don't have an endorsement deal, who cares if you break the record? You have to think and then of course he got him the biggest endorsement deal, but it was all those.
Wow.
It's all those ideas of just.
You didn't want to do the endorsement deal?
And Hank just didn't even, he was like, I guess no one's asking me. My father said, of course they're not asking you. You're about to break Babe Ruth's record. You need to have an endorsement deal. So he went to Coca-Cola and got him the deal. But but Hank just sat there. But again, he changed Hank's life forever, but he changed so many children's or young people's lives forever because Hank gave back. Hank had scholarships throughout his foundation. He and his wife, Billy, made sure that they turned back and went into the community and opened up doors and gave real opportunities to other people. And that is what my father would always say, just don't pay me, but what I need you to do, my payment is, you have to pay it forward.
There's a couple of people, there's Ron Conway is this version of that. Like a person that's out there, that's in and around folks as they're impacting culture and whisperers that are like, hey, purpose. So your dad being a whisperer of purpose to folks as they're, making their mark to punch culture, to shape culture, to remind them the importance or, point them the right way. Like was that your first documentary you did?
Yes. It's the first documentary I did. And I had thought about that documentary I was talking to Reggie Hudlin about that documentary for at least 10, 15 years. And so it was always in my head as a child. I would see all these people in our house all the time, and I would sit as a sponge and just listen to their stories. And I'm thinking, who's going to ever believe this? This needs to be on film. This is insane. Or just the political events that they'd have, and the people from the record business and the film business and this business, and everybody with just this cross-sectionality of intelligence and creativity was fascinating. And I thought, okay, people need to know that when power connects with other power, they could be in completely different businesses, they could be different races, it doesn't matter. Power knows power. And when it connects, when it finds each other, it just starts to elevate. And I loved everything about the people that showed up at my house. It wasn't about that they were, I had all these famous people around me. No, these were very positive and powerful and productive people. These people made change. It wasn't about being famous. It was, how are we going to use our fame to make a positive difference in our community, in our home, just little ripple effects. They didn't even look at the world first. They just looked at, hopefully it'll just go out. So whether you're, my mom, she called him Jimmy, but, James Baldwin, she said, Jimmy Baldwin just needed help and he needed people to buy his books and he needed people to buy his poetry. He's published, but just because you're published, you're not going to be successful if no one's out there buying it. And If it was a Black artist or a Black sculptor or whatever, it's somebody who, anybody. My parents were, okay, they're coming up, they're out of the Renaissance, we're gonna support him, we're gonna support her, we're gonna do this, and hopefully it'll make a difference for people 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the line to say, yes, somebody did that. And somebody did this for you. We're opening a door for you. Just the way, so my dad always raised me to never let me leave the house without remembering a lot of people struggled for you, of all colors. People struggled for you. You know, he's like, I am from the South. I was born in 1931. I don't want to hear your shit today. I don't want to hear it. You have to stay focused, and you're not going to know where you have to know where you're going to get what you want. You don't know what you want. You have to figure out what you want, and then you're going to know where you're going to go.
Yeah.
But his whole point was, you cannot go through this life and think that it's all you and that you did everything, because you have your freedoms because other people sacrificed their peace. They sacrificed their sanity. They sacrificed everything. So for me, my intention is to live my thank you. Every day I'm out there.
Can you say that sentence one more time?
I live my thank you.
That is so like beautifully said, because I was sitting here thinking that there's a lot of successful parents, mothers and fathers, and then they have kids, and it's hard for the kids.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of kids don't end up like you and your brother.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, believe me. I grew up with them, and thank God my good friends, we're cool, but we look at our other friends and they think, oh, it's so this. I go, no. You had all the same privileges, but it was the parenting. And it was, my mom was like, listen, we have blessings. We're very blessed. We're going to share our blessings, but just because we're blessed does not mean that you get to be a brat. You're definitely not going to walk through this world as somebody who thinks you're no better than anyone, Nicole, and you're not less than anyone.
You know what's beautiful about you and your brother? And when I see you guys out in the world, you guys still feel like your parents' struggle was your struggle.
Yeah.
Because you could have just been comfortable and in the blanket that they've woven for you guys. But you're out there fighting the fight. Your brother's out there networking, connecting. Like,
yes.
He works harder than the people that he works.
I know. Alex works harder, and he puts everybody together.
I know.
He knows everybody and he weaves a tapestry. It's incredible. I mean, these were my mom's. She had these bangles forever, and I call them the spanking bangles because I used to hear these coming, and she would give me a little what did you say? But I love them because they remind my little spanking bangles. But she always put me in uncomfortable situations. I remember calling her from sleepaway camp the first time. I said, Mom, I have to get out of here. I'm going to die here. I was so dramatic. I'm going to die here. I can't stay here. Mom said, anyway, I'll be there in 10 days. You know, I said, Mom, I don't like it. I have to come home. I don't have any friends. What if I don't make friends? She said, what if you do? I said, but what if I don't? And everything was what if. And she turned my what ifs and what if you do? What if I don't love basketball? What if you do? And she said, but I'm going to tell you one thing. You can't quit. This is not forever. It's not a death sentence. I'm going to pick you up in 10 days. But if I start letting you quit at everything you don't like, then you will end up a quitter in life. And my job is to teach you how to win at life. And to win at life, you have to be uncomfortable. To win at life, you have to lose. To win at life, you have to fail, because then you have to get back up and try again and learn and pivot and start over again. You begin again. She was very big on the beginning again. She said, but your soul cannot grow without any pressure. It's like, every time I look at in the wintertime when we cut down all the branches and we let everything, and everything looks so barren and it looks so dry and it looks like everything hurts. And then springtime comes and then you realize why you had to cut everything back because everything is going to blossom, but you have to prune it. And pruning is not fun. And it's not, it doesn't look great, it doesn't feel great, but the soul pruning is very, very important. And I'm so grateful to my parents that they always had us working And I never was without a job. And I'm talking any kind of job. I sold shoes, I was waitressing, I was hostessing, I was, answering I was always a receptionist, something for my dad's friends. I mean, I was working, but I had to be productive. But my mom said, when you're around other people, even if you don't want to be in television, we're going to put you at Warner Brothers Television for a summer. I was like, well, I don't want to be here. I want to be working with Jerry Moss. I know what I want to do when I get out of college. But she said, but you're going to learn different skills from different people. You have to be a sponge and just be in the rooms. And
so Jerry Moss is where you had your eye?
Oh, and I got there. I did. That's dope. He was the greatest. I mean, he used to play me all the albums that he and Herbie would, before they even put them out. I'll never forget, I got Supertramp. I'll never forget, I got the Breakfast in America album, and he used to bring boxes to my house and just drop off music, whatever they had coming up, Peter Frampton, whoever. When I heard the Breakfast in America album, I remember thinking, I don't even know what this is. What is this? This is incredible. And he knew that I loved music, and he knew I loved all types of music. And there's this great song, Stevie Nicks and Don Henley, Stop Dragging My Heart Around. And she says in the song, well, I know I just want to really be my own girl. And so one night at dinner, he happened to be over, and all the kids were talking about what they wanted to be when they were older. And they got to me and I go, I don't know. I just know that I really want to be my own girl. That's what I want to do. And Jerry looked over at me. He goes, you're going to work for me one day. That is amazing. You are going to work for me. He goes,
how old were you?
I was young. I was probably 12, I think, because maybe 12. We have to look that up. I wonder when that song came out. Probably 12, because I remember listening to it. I was at day camp, and I remember they would play it on the bus all the time. You'll find out. That was Stop Dragging My Heart Around. I'm going to think about that.
Wait, I can find out.
Yeah,
I can find out exactly.
I'm so curious. But I was young. Pre-teen, early teen.
Okay. So what was the album?
So the song is Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
Okay.
And it's Tom Petty. Sorry, I said Don Henley.
The song's Stop Dragging My Heart Around by Tom Petty, released on A&M.
I don't know if it was A&M, but and Stevie Nicks.
And Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, and see when it came. What was the year?
When did that come out? What year did that come out?
Stop Dragging My Heart Around by Stevie Nicks featuring Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers was released in 1981.
81.
It was actually released under Motown Records, which was Stevie Nicks' label at the time. So there you go. The vibey collab between these two legends dropped back in 81. I'm out. Go ahead and say bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
I was 13.
13.
I was close. Yep.
And you said
I knew it. I said, I really want to be my own girl. And he was like, oh, you picked up that lyric. You picked that up. I go, yes. And I love that song. And Jerry just knew. He goes, and he loved that I loved rock and roll. I loved anything. I loved R&B. I loved rock and roll. I could listen to Adam and the Ants and then the Commodores. And then I could go back to the Police. And then I'd go to the Jam. And then I'd go to wherever. And he just loved that my taste was everywhere. And he said, oh, so you just love music.
Where'd you go to high school?
Beverly High.
You went to Beverly?
I went to Beverly.
I went to Pally.
Not far.
Where'd you go to junior high?
I went to, it was elementary, it was Hawthorne Elementary in Beverly Hills. So they were all there, and then we all went to Beverly together.
I went to Paul Revere.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Paul Revere. I had a few friends go to Paul Revere.
I had a couple of friends that went to Beverly.
Yep. It was a good time. That was a good time. Music was great. I mean, Michael Jackson was, again, it was a time where when I was in high school, it was MTV was everything. Yeah. And again, if I was in trouble or if I got a bad grade, the two things my mom knew would get me, no more Tower Records. I couldn't go to Tower Records to buy an album, and it hurt. And I couldn't watch MTV. When I got home, it was the worst, and she knew.
That's equivalent to right now, if you have young kids, like, no TikTok. No Instagram.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, give me your whole phone.
Give me. But I felt like as if my whole life was going to be taken away. I said, Mom, I can't live without music. I can't. And again, I was always so dramatic. I'm like, I'm going to die without my music. I'm going to die without my music. But it does change. It does change my vibration. And every single day. And I notice if I'm and my dad taught me this, he goes, in the morning, you have to play big band in the morning. He goes, because it gets your brain going. You start off in a bad mood. And so he'd always, he loves Duke Ellington, or it could be, but he loved Glenn Miller. And my dad's, until he died, it was In the Mood by Glenn Miller every morning. And he'd start doing this with his finger, and he'd start going. He's like, there you go. Go on, bro. He'd just keep going. And then I would see his mood change. And so after he passed away, I remember one day I was cooking breakfast and Ted was gone. It was just me. And I was thinking, oh, and I just couldn't get out of this funk. And I thought, oh, In the Mood. And I put it on, and it's exactly what happened, And of course, it connected me to my dad. And it's true, music, I really do believe that music, nothing changes your vibration faster, at least for me, than music.
Yeah.
And even when my father got sick and he had a stroke, and I was taking him to the hospital, and I was obviously so nervous and didn't know what to do, and I felt so helpless. But I could, he knew what was going on though. He just couldn't talk, and he could only move one side. It looked like he could move one side of his body. And I remember I said to the paramedic, I said, do you mind if I just put on this playlist? Do you mind? And he looked at me like, whatever. And I put on the Frank Sinatra playlist. And Fly Me to the Moon came on, and he, that's Quincy's song with Frank, and My Dad's Feet, Fly Me to the Moon, and then Bewitched, and I started playing all of it. And all of a sudden, my dad's feet just started going, and he's bebopping, and I'm thinking, you're in the middle of a stroke, and your brain is remembering, your DNA is remembering all the beats and the rhythms to these songs. And then that was my proof of the power and the healing power, if you want to use it that way, of music. It's incredible.
It is. What's also incredible is, this is your first book that you wrote?
Yes.
What was that journey like?
It was very cathartic and joyous, and then very painful and annoying all at the same time.
What was the painful part?
The painful part was just really putting everything out there. It was really trying to make sure that how do I say this right? Sounded correct. I needed to make sure that people really understood my heart. It was hard for me to put my whole heart and soul and all my feelings about my mom's passing, how she passed, and then wanting to explain who I was and, who am I to say that I feel this way about forgiveness, or I feel this way about life, or turning pain into purpose. Who is Nicole Avant? So I just then had to dig deeply, very into my soul, and then just be vulnerable, like, oh, screw it. I'm just going to put it out here. All my mistakes, things that I've learned, my parents' mistakes that they taught me of not to do. And then it turned out to be very healing for my soul. And I felt that I crossed over to the other side. As it says in scripture, the only way out is through it. Like, you have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You have to walk through it. There is no just, you walk around it. You could try to walk around it, but it's going to catch you. So I just had to walk through the pain. I have two stepkids, Tony and Sarah. And I feel that, they're mine. I mean, I met Tony and Sarah when they were 12 and 14. So
I have 4 brothers and sisters that my mom adopted. And they're like Marvin and Marcel, Mandy and Princess. I would have thought my mom birthed them.
Right.
And just how close they are.
Yeah.
How inseparable we are from. Like, I got an argument with somebody just last weekend. I was like, yeah, that's my brother Marvin. They're like, that's not your brother. I'm like, this is my brother. But he doesn't look like you. I'm like, okay, this is my brother Marvin, but he's much younger. Like, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, yes, Marvin is younger. He doesn't look, he's Cambodian and black. I'm clearly crispy. That's my brother though. I don't get, okay, look, my mom, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, my mom adopted in front of him.
Exactly.
We have different fathers, same mom. Oh, okay, got it. So then I knew what they were thinking in their head, like, so you're 50, he's clearly 23. Your mom, I could already see like their math.
Oh, you could see all of it. I mean, it's like,
so your mom had a baby at 50. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's, and so when you said, I'm gonna go and write this book.
Yeah.
Did you write it for you? Did you write it for your kids? Like, did you write, what was the purpose
I actually
of it?
wrote it. So Think You'll Be Happy was, those were the last words that my mom said to me. And literally like 4, and then 3 hours later, someone broke into their home and she was in, it was just a terrible robbery gone bad. And I thought, of course my mom would say, think you'll be happy. Out of all things that she could have said, those were the last words I ever saw from her, heard from her. And I thought, if I can share this journey with people of getting to the other side of pain, and it doesn't necessarily mean the pain goes all away. My heart's still in repair, but I don't care. But my heart's in repair. If I have to move through life with a heart in repair, I move through life with a heart in repair. But I want to live. I want to honor my life force. I want to honor my mother. I want to honor the lessons that she taught me. I love that my parents were so focused on generational Black wealth and creating that for people and opening doors for people, and not just opening the doors, but also being a safe landing space. Their home was a very safe landing space for over 50 years for creatives to come into the house. And most of the time it was celebrations. A lot of the time it was a lot of crying and a lot of disappointment and a lot of fear and a lot of, no one's really gone down this path, and I'm a Black lawyer at this law firm, and no one's really trying to help me out here. You know what I mean? And they would just come home. They would come over our house, and sometimes they just want to lay down and feel as if they were listened to. And then they would get really good advice, and then they'd go out again. And I, when I was younger, I have to admit, and I say this in the book, I didn't really love that everyone was at the house all the time. I didn't love sharing my parents all the time. I didn't understand the bigger picture as a young girl. Why would I? I didn't understand what they were putting out into the universe, and I didn't understand the purpose, and I definitely didn't understand the value of it. And now, of course I do, and I respect it. But at that time, I just thought, is there ever going to be a day where somebody's not here and you're not giving them advice? But no. And my mom would always say, when you leave this house and when you go to school, and when you branch out on your own, you can create your own life and you can do whatever you want to do. And you don't have to follow in our footsteps, but this is what we are here to do. And I love that she never made me feel afraid about death. So she would always say, inside the circle of life is death. And a lot of people talk about the circle of life and then they put death over here. And she said, but that's not true. So she would always say, I don't want you to be afraid of death. And it's coming for everybody. And some people get 3 days, some people get 3 hours, some people get 30 years, some people get 100 years. But it's all about what you do and if you're connected to some purpose. And did you make any place better than when you found it? And if you did, you lived.
You know what? Hearing you speak and seeing you in the world and what you mean to so many people, your brother as well. I'm like, your parents, they're architects, designers, choreographers. They really designed you guys. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Because you guys then went out into the world, took those lessons, that choreography, that preparation, that design, and you've embodied it. And although your parents aren't here, they're here through you guys at the highest order, the highest vibration, how you speak to the highest level in society. Like, you're an ambassador of Bahamas.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was your job description? Like,
it was the best.
What does one do being the ambassador of the Bahamas?
You're basically, the diplomats really don't get enough credit. We're really the president of the United States in whatever home territory you're in, whatever host country you're in. You have the authority. I mean, we lead the embassies around the world. And so the embassies, yes, we have our mission. We have it, and we always want to bring the best of America to wherever we are. Mm-hmm. But I would be the visionary for the embassy. But I have to say, the people at the State Department on that level and all the bureaucrats, and they never get enough credit, and all the first responders and all my law enforcement guys. I mean, I'm still close with a lot of the men in the DEA operation that I worked with, Coast Guard, really good friends, ICE. And the beauty was, I would have, outside of that job, I would have never really crossed paths with any of those people. Why would I have?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have necessarily crossed paths with me. And I love that we were able to just figure it out and focus on what we had in common, which was the common good and American values and what we were bringing to the country. But more than that, just ourselves, and just knowing that they were former Boston cops before they got into the DEA, and now they're living in the Bahamas, and then in 2 years they would move to another country, and some of them were in the Middle East, and they came from Iraq. I mean, it was
You lived there for 4 years?
I was there for 2 years. I was supposed to be there for 3, and then I came back for the re-election. So, because I had just married Ted, and this was before Netflix had original programming. It was before, so he was talking to me about all of this. He was talking about binge watching, original programming, moving Netflix. And I was looking at Ted saying, oh, that's so cute.
Wait. So y'all's, before you go to sleep, pillow talks, he was like, listen, honey, this is what's about to go down.
Yes.
You see this TV stuff over here? Like how they got the Lost, recently on Lost, like previously on Lost. Like that was probably the last big TV, series. And then he's like, listen, we about to take it to the next level.
Pretty much. I mean, he really did. And I honestly didn't know what level he was talking about. I said, what? And he said, no. I know where I want to go and I know what I want to do. And I remember he flew into Nassau, and he would come every 2 weeks. And this Friday was early. He would get there early in the morning. He would take those late flights. He'd get there early in the morning. He was white as a ghost, Will, and pasty. And I knew something was off. I go, what's wrong? What'd you do? What did you do? And he said, well, I made a deal. We're going into original programming. I bought the first show. And I said, well, that's great.
What was the first show?
House of Cards.
Damn.
And I said, well, Teddy, that's great. He said, well, I bought 2 seasons. I only read. And he kept saying, well, kind of turning away. I go, what is the problem? He goes, I spent a lot of money. I said, well, how much money did you spend? He said, like $100 million. And I thought, oh my God. And I remember saying to him, which is why I love my husband, I said, Teddy, if this doesn't work, what happens? I said, are you going to get fired? He goes, it's fireable. It's fireable. And I thought, Ted. And he said, listen, I'll figure it out. I said, what if people don't hire you in Hollywood anymore? What if you just blow this? What if this whole thing blows up? And it was the same as my mom. He goes, and what if it doesn't? And I thought, okay, Jackie Avant, okay, here we go. I said, really? He goes, what if it doesn't? I think I know what I'm doing. I have a vision and I'm going for it. And you know what? It's not going to kill me. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I get a new job. I go, what if they don't hire you in the business? He goes, I'll get a job outside the business. I mean, Ted was just, nothing really phases him. He loves taking risks. And that's what, that's what innovators do, So he just went for it. And I love that he always continuously, he didn't wake up saying, I'm going to disrupt Hollywood. That was never his intention. He didn't wake up like, oh, I'm going to be so cool. I'm going to disrupt Hollywood.
I don't think he disrupt.
They call it that. But
when
it's
you
not
drive down, down Sunset.
Thank you.
Do you know what Hollywood looked like before the Netflix buildings? You know what I'm saying? Yo, they didn't disrupt Hollywood. They gave it a refresh.
Yes, they did. They gave it a nice facelift.
The East Hollywood. Like we know West Hollywood. They really changed. I'm an East Side cat.
Yeah.
I'm an East Sider. And to see how Netflix has transformed the East of Hollywood.
It's incredible.
It's awesome.
It's really incredible. And you know what? But again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, which is Ted loves what he does. He loves being creative. He always wanted to be creative. He loved television as a child. He did not grow up, in this super privileged house. He didn't even finish school. He didn't finish
Where'd he
college.
grow up?
He grew up in Arizona. His parents were very young.
It's hot out there.
It is hot, and his parents weren't, they weren't fancy. They didn't have education. They didn't go to college. So his dad, I think, went to the ninth grade. His mom, the same. They had 5 kids I think they were 25 and had 5 kids. But he watched a lot of TV, and he's always at his grandmother's house looking for stability. And so his grandmother was the one who gave him the stability. And so she loved late night television. So Ted would study it. And he knows every TV show. He knows every movie. And then he worked at a video store. And he said it was dead during the day. So what did Ted do? Instead of just sitting there doing nothing, he'd watch all the movies. So he knew the foreign movies. He knew this movie. He knew that movie. He knew the movies from the 60s, the movies from the 80s, and, all over the place, and mysteries and dramas and romantic comedies, but he studied. And so that was Ted's masterclass. That was his course. And so I think there's a love and a passion and a dedication that comes with his work. That's the energy he does bring to Netflix. It's not a normal CEO blueprint.
His big bets, like Narcos?
Yeah.
He knew that people were just going to read the subtitles. Oh, shit is in Spanish, but I'm from East LA, so that shit worked big time.
It worked. He has a hit. Again, he loves it, and he loves the world, and he loves people around the world, and he loves stories that are global. And that's what he wanted to be, and that's who they are now. And I think I'm just so happy that I've been along for the ride with him. I mean, it's just incredible to watch him. I'm telling you, when he sleeps sometimes, it's a lot. I'm sure when you get the downloads, I know when musicians get the download. I always thought it was only musicians or actors, but I see Ted Sarandos I watch him get the downloads, and I can see him just talking to himself sometimes, and he mumbles this and that. I'm thinking, I don't understand one word you're saying, but something's about to change.
I had one last night.
Isn't it? It's fascinating.
So last night I was laying down, going to sleep. I got to turn it in because I'm late to turn in this song to Tom Brady for this museum they're opening up in Vegas called the Hall of Excellence. And I'm trying to finish the song, trying to finish it. Think about how am I going to get a chorus on it? I mean, a crowd. How do I get a stadium worth of singing the chorus? How am I going to record that? So I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to put it through the AI. And I put it through I had the download on the directions of how to get it done. I put it through the AI, and it was the most mixed emotion. Because boy, did it sound fantastic. I'm like, wow, that's exactly. Then I'm like, wait. Eventually this thing is going to just do it on its own. We've never experienced that. Like, I interviewed Bootsy Collins, and he was talking about how competitive it was, where, they were like, we're going to take the stage. Let's take it to the stage. It was all competitive, humans. It wasn't like Bootsy Collins or Prince or Michael Jackson or Quincy Jones. They're not like, man, them dolphins, man. They fucking shit up. Did you hear what the dolphins doing in the ocean? You didn't have to worry about like, yo, but what about them bears though? Them bears is fucking it up in them motherfucking forests.
Right.
You didn't have to think about any other species. And now here's something that we've created that will create.
100%.
As you were talking about music being healing, it's one thing for a machine to be like, I know the conversations you've been having. I know the DMs you've been having because it has access to the feed. The cookies are all up in your stuff.
Yep.
And then it's like, I know you're hurting. Here's a song. Here's the dose. And it's going to feel magnificent for you, specifically for you. And that, as a songwriter, composer, beat maker, you never had to worry about precision to a T because everyone was guessing. Prince was guessing, Michael Jackson was guessing, and they were really good guessers. Mm-hmm. But this 99.9% accuracy on like,
That's
boom.
right. That's right.
That's the one.
And that's the difference. That's a very good point you made about everyone was guessing. Oh. And that is really, it's true. I mean, no one knew what was gonna, I remember Quincy would just write and toss in the right, and it just wasn't right, but I didn't know what was supposed to be right. I was like, it sounds, he would do these beats. I was like, sounds good. He's like, no. Because in his mind had already told him what it was gonna sound like. Mm-mm. And so until he got that, everyone else can say, oh, it's fantastic. No, until whatever he heard in his mind that was given to him by the universe, until he heard that specific thing, it wasn't right. And they were just guessing. And and that is the main difference.
Yeah. You're going to have, it's one thing if you're making music for you and it's like, yo, check this out. And I got a squad of loyals and they like what I make. And then there's like the audience. The pedestrians, the civilians, the general public. Mm-hmm. The difference between, yester creatives and today's and beyond is that now the audience has options to get precisely what they want.
Yes.
And not proximity heartbreak.
Right.
That was my heartbreak I wrote for me. And then you liked it because it's kind of close. But the AI is going to give you like your specific heartbreak. Yeah. It's going to be like, Valerie, be like, oh, look, hey, Valerie, why'd she do that to me? Not like, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a Roxanne. I want to be for every name, not just Roxanne.
Roxanne. No, you did not. Oh my God.
Really? Like, think about the girl named Roxanne in the 80s. She was like, I got a song. And if your name was like, Kiana, thank you, Drake, for Kiki, because my sister always wanted a song. But there's a lot of girls that didn't have a song. Shanice didn't have a song.
No.
Trisha didn't have a song. 777, like 7779311. It's just one phone number.
Yeah, or 867-5309.
Like, just two songs. How about all the other numbers?
Yep. Yeah, I always wanted my phone number. I'm like, how come I can't have 8? I would sing that song every day. Like, that is the best phone number ever. My mom said, you don't even know your own phone number, and you remember this number.
Yeah. And so, if that's going to happen in music, what do you think the world of storytelling will be?
I think it'll be similar. It's, my friend just showed me that she threw out some idea on a phone of, what if these two people got together in a romantic comedy? This thing spurted up. I thought, that sounds fantastic. And then it said, or maybe it should be this person. And I thought, oh my God. But, I think like everything else, I think there's so much good that's going to come out of this technology, a lot of positivity, which I focus on. And then, there's nothing to me, there's the human touch is the human touch. And so we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I love the really good things about AI, and I love the good things about technology, and even when it seeps into creativity. I think it's great.
So do I.
I really do.
I think for me, it's bring it on.
Yeah.
If the Princes aren't here anymore, the Michael Jacksons aren't here anymore. And unfortunately, we've had this like wind down, watered down culture where, just like the interview I had with Bootsy, where they practice. He said they would rehearse 5 times a week, 2 times a day, sometimes. Shit, if you would have asked me when's the last time we rehearsed, I'm like, I don't know. We don't rehearse.
Right.
Like that. Not like they did.
Yeah. It's a different level. It's a different, my dad, it was 1980, so 87, 88 when the Bad tour was out. And Michael hired my dad to promote the tour. My dad didn't know anything about concert promotion. He's like, I don't know how to do this. But he was like, I'll do it with you, Michael.
Wait,
but
Michael asked your dad.
Clarence Avant promoted he is the promoter of the Michael Jackson.
And he ain't never promoted.
No. He was like, Michael, he's like, no, I want you with me. I
want you to,
and it was, but my dad called Al Heyman, who is the great music promoter, and he's a great promoter. My dad said, listen, you're young, you're Black, you're talented, you know how to do this. I don't, but I know how to do all the business, and my kids are going to go on tour, and they're going to work. So we had to.
You was on tour?
We were on tour. We went through. I went through most of America, a lot of Europe, with my parents, and I'll never forget. In the UK, they had me do all the VIP passes and put all the stuff together. But this is back in the 80s, so you had to write everything out. There was none of this stuff that everyone gets. And I remember looking at the charts and looking at all the seating charts. I'm like, how am I going to find people in this huge stadium? My mom said, figure it out. People have figured this out since the beginning of time. Figure it out. But the beauty was when I would watch Michael practice, to your point, it was not just him practicing, but then I started connecting once I started seeing everybody in all the grips. I'm like, oh my gosh, right. So if this guy doesn't get the stage right and where he's going to moonwalk here, God forbid the plank is not here in the perfect way, they're keeping him from falling. The chords can't hit him. This can't do this. And I started noticing, and I loved it. It was the first time where I really, of course, I've seen collaboration before and I'd been collaborative, but on that level and Michael's perfectionism, I had never seen that level before. And it was a masterclass. It was a masterclass because he did not stop practicing. And he wanted to give the audiences every ounce of his energy, he wanted them to feel it. He wanted, he wasn't just going to be, I'll do 80% tonight. I'll give 95. It was 110 at all times. And just to be around that energy and learn from him and see his team and see how people worked. But his dedication to the craft and his dedication to his audience was just, for me at that time, and I was in college, it was, like I said, it was a masterclass that I will never forget. And I take a lot of those lessons. They're in my life now. The discipline, that every time I want to quit, I always think about the people around me who didn't and get tired. And no, it just, if you have this gift, then you have to just go out and put it out into the world. But to see that determination and that persistence was very effective for me and really changed me for the better.
Did your dad mentor Michael outside of the tour?
He did a lot he helped him with certain deals. Like he'd always go in and help him with contracts.
Wait, did he help him? Did your dad help give him the nugget to go out and get the published?
I don't know. You know what?
Because that sounds like
yeah, it does sound like him. It does sound like him.
Where's that?
I didn't know the story in the Black Godfather about the E.T. I guess he did something when E.T. came out. Michael did a song and it either ended up on the album, but it was Sony, and there were two record companies. And Michael didn't ask permission. I have to watch my own movie again. I forgot, but. My dad helped. Zach Horowitz at Universal, CP at Universal, tells this great story that they were all in this legal boardroom and everyone's sitting around the table and Zach leans over and says to somebody, is that Clarence Avant? Why is Clarence Avant here? And he said, who is he representing? And the guy turned around and said, everyone. That's and amazing. I love, that was, I had never known that story. And I called Reggie Hudlin and I said, you are interviewing Zach Horowitz and he's going to tell that story, which he did. And it was so, again, I just never knew a lot of the behind the scenes that he would do and just be in the room. He always believed that, he goes, when you really want to negotiate, you negotiate. Everyone should win. Everyone needs to win. And there's a way for everyone to win. You're not going to get exactly what you want all the time, but you'll get enough of what you want where everyone should be able to walk away.
Yeah.
And feel good.
That's amazing. Yeah. And that's a great, if everyone can have that mentality where, a great deal is when everyone feels like they got what they deserved. Jimmy Iovine is another one of those cats that do that. type of deal making and mentoring.
Yes, it's important, and it should be that. I mean, I know it's not always that way, but it's so important when you do get people who do that. It just makes the whole project or whatever it is, the album, the project, the movie, it makes it better because everyone can show up as their creative selves and do what they came in there to do without thinking about, oh my God, is this person about to screw me right here? Is this person about to do this? And, you know, life is tricky and business is tricky and creativity is tricky. But if you can, my dad, he was just obsessed with the deal. He was always obsessed with, let's try to make, you know, a deal. And he got screwed over so many times himself that that's how he learned. He didn't know, he didn't have proper schooling either.
Is politics over for you?
Every time I say it's over, and then it's not over. I mean, it's not over, but I'm involved, but in a different way, not in the way I used to be. I think that it's such an interesting landscape right now, and I think people are in such denial of just what is, you know, what's changed in the country, how it changed, how people are. And everyone's like, what? Wait, how? I said, you know, follow the people here. I don't know. So I'm involved, but not the way I used to be. And, but I love it. I just love it all. I don't know what it is. But I just do. And every time I say, oh, Ted, I'm done. Just don't wake me up in 10 years. You know, I'm done with politics. I'm not. I love it too much.
Yeah.
You?
I'm not done. Only because there's too much like gluing that needs to happen. It's a lot of. I remember one time I was getting ready to go out and do some work, and Jamie Foxx was like, "Well, don't forget, we're 100%ers." Although when people come and see us, both sides are there, and we have to remember that, you know, when we're on stage, you have to heal both sides. And although, you know, I vote for the people I vote for, I can't ignore the folks that vote for the other.
Absolutely not. And thank God you're still like that, but I always tell people, I would say this to Ted all the time, it's the entertainers, the comedians, everybody, the singers, it's the artists who are going to help glue or heal everybody, because to your point, everybody shows up at the shows.
Yeah.
Everybody. So the first time I'll never forget, I went to a Tracy Morgan comedy show, and I'm telling you, everybody there was a truck driver, you know, and blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever, and you could tell where they were in the country, but they loved Tracy, and they wanted to see Tracy, and they needed Tracy to make them feel great and laugh. And that is the power of the artist. And the artist can never forget that you play for everybody.
And so I show up in the areas that reflect the community that I come from purposefully. I'm trying to borrow from what you said. I wear my thank yous in how I show up. So I thank my community by giving back to my community. I build robotic centers in areas that have been forgotten or left out via zoning. I have my scholarships where I send kids to college debt-free.
That's right.
And aim them, mentor them, go out there and network to bring, you know, mentors from Boeing, NASA, to get our kids to go to school for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, because it turns out those are the jobs of tomorrow. Right. And we've been doing that work since 2008. So we're all East Siders. That's the reason why when I said, when I drive east down Sunset and I see just the magnificent transformation that Netflix, a company, and art has done to transform the community in the city, just by how it vibrates, how it's present.
That's right.
And the jobs that it creates.
That's right.
There's an amazing building here on Cahuenga. Like, I'm like, what is this black house with a screen on it? I didn't know what they were building for all the mirrors. Then I'm like, oh, boom, boom. Yeah. The Netflix, the light show. So I'm like, oh, if Netflix is around here, I got to get my stages right. So soon as I saw the Netflix in on them buildings, I'm like, I gotta get.
I love it.
I had a call. I'm like, yo, give me some podcast stages. I need an XR stage. Get me the best. Because they show up and when presence is there, you either, wither away or you stand straight up.
100%.
So I feel their presence.
That's amazing.
And it inspired me to stand.
That's amazing.
Get up, stand up, and network better. So thank your hubby.
I will.
Thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for salute for your vibrancy and how you're keeping your mother and your father's legacy alive.
Thank you.
I thank them in spirit for them raising a king and a queen, you and your brother. You guys are angels.
Thank you.
To us creatives here.
Thank you.
In Hollywood.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And congrats to you on everything.